subscribe and like the video.
I think one of the biggest problems for slop tubers in general is that they think they can tackle political commentary without like doing any reading whatsoever by simply attacking someone who does do political commentary, right? On the basis of like Reddit comments that they've compiled into a video and that they've like edited together. And the issue is you don't know what you're talking about. Like you have no idea. You thought Roe v. Wade was the gay one, a week ago. Like you're not like a serious person. And that's precisely the reason why it'll end up having a bunch of stuff, Red Scare at a time when Donald Trump is the president and is just like ripping through the country. Dudes are hitting Sig Heils, okay? The wealthiest guy on the planet is hitting a Sig Heil. The wealthiest guy on the planet is hitting a Sig Heil on a prominent stage, okay? And you're like, who's really at fault here? Commies. The powerful communists. It's a McCarthyism done by someone too stupid to navigate anything he's talking about, and he just ends up looking even dumber. GG's. It has an unironic American patriotism montage. This video is for no one. Yeah, it's just sad. I don't know why he just won't go back to like fun drama or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know. He's just like desperately wants to be taken seriously in this field, and it's just not going to happen. Okay.
Of a crew of 3, it should have been a crew of 4. How many people should have been on the helicopter? And then please continue with your other 2 points.
Yes. So 3 is a minimum crew for a Black Hawk helicopter. In my opinion, when you're going into visual flight mode in a crowded airspace like this, it should be a minimum of 4. So you have a pilot on each side for visibility. That's the first one. The second one is whether
he said his main goal is that you do not end up mainstream. Yeah, I know. It's because it's Epstein-y. It's because it's a Epstein-y take. The idea that like I'm far too scary, far too dangerous to be made mainstream. So like, you gotta go and warn like New York Times journalists or whatever, not realizing that many of those people who write those articles are infinitely more intelligent than you and the fans dumb enough to be duped into thinking that I'm a clear and present danger under Trump's current administration. Okay? That's the issue is this is where a lot of Redditors that have done brigades against me actually hit a wall and they can't comprehend it. Okay? They will go and flood the market with like Hasan is so bad clips, right? Not realizing that a lot of those journalists that either write articles about me or write articles about anything, media or political commentary across the board, are a little bit more knowledgeable about the shit that they're talking about than Epstein's brigaders or Ethan's ramblings. Okay? It's ridiculous. That's it. Wait, why did Fossabot? Oh, that's so funny. This was a funny take, but Fossabot timed you out. Just so you know, Squeaks is not watching and is not interested in the nuke video. I don't even give a shit if people watch a nuke video, brother. I think it speaks for itself that more people are, dunking on it and clowning on it than taking it seriously. Like, oh my God, this is the most serious thing. Partially because, a bunch of people have made this exact same video a million times over, and it's almost always the exact same principle. It's always the same shit, which is Hasan bad, Hasan rich, Hasan socialist scary, Hasan loves China, Hasan denies the cultural and mass surveillance that the Chinese government did to Uyghurs in Xinjiang, even though I have been very critical of that a million times over. But it's conducted by a person who doesn't know anything and is simply, rehashing Reddit comments. So that's it. And then clip chimp a couple times on politically charged subjects such as Israel, Palestine, where he'll say something along the lines of like, oh, he is rape apologist or something. I'm not. I guess the Israeli prosecutors are rape apologists. rather than myself. And yeah, that's it. And he's a scary guy. Seems like almost all of it is clip chimps sliced together to make you look as worse as possible. Yeah, I just don't think it's like, I think for you guys, many of you already know my position. He tried to claim the AP article you referred to on the Xinjiang didn't exist. See, that's what I mean. It's like really bad research in general, right? It's just really bad research in general. It's no interest in research whatsoever. That's it. And I've been live this entire time. So you know my ass has not watched this quote unquote content nuke. So I'm like, this is my suspicion of what he did. And the reason why this is my suspicion on what he did is probably correct is because this is not a new video. So many people have done this bad faith nonsense a million times over. And it's crazy that it's like coming from a dude that I knew personally. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's a very sad state of affairs that like even someone that you know personally over a disagreement over can just like completely rewrite his brain almost. It's embarrassing. And no, it's not embarrassing for me. It's embarrassing for him. Maybe you're a poor judge of character. People say this all the time. I disagree. I will always assume the best in others. I don't care. I'm never going to give up on that mentality. I'm not going to be more of a cynical human being across the board. They always bring up the brothel too. Oh yeah, no, not bad research. He's bad face. Very obvious. His clips that cut right at the moment where you say something that could destroy his argument. So far in the video, he's just posting your takes and relying on them already being against your position. He doesn't really do anything to disprove your takes. Yeah. You've spent so many hours elaborating on your position that he would just have to critique you live to keep up. You've already flooded the internet with your explained opinions. He can't reframe you no matter how he tries. Well, there is one thing he can do, which is hope that no one has ever seen me or has only tangentially heard about me or has only had a bad opinion on me. He's farming the haters. He's farming the haters because he's become the hater. It's sad. It's a sad state of affairs in general. He literally said he can finally get his life back after this video comes out. It's sad. I know. I mean, I want him to be happy, by the way. I want him to be happy. So I think he's never going to listen to me, so it doesn't matter. I don't think he respects me. Something I texted him directly. I was like, listen, I don't think you respect me, but I think you respect, I think you respect Sam Cedar. You should probably have a conversation with him about this. He never replied to that. But I want him to be a happy person, and I don't think this is going to lead to a level of happiness, especially if it backfires. You know, the haters are going to say this sentiment is fake, but you said this for months. Yeah. Not only have I said this for months, I was definitely a lot more charitable to him.
They were on night vision goggles at that time or not. It is a very cluttered airspace with a lot of lighting and the lights reflecting on the river. And so with that, it's easy to kind of get a little disoriented as far as the height. They were supposed to be at 200 feet.
He's asking people to mass email journalists that cover you in the mainstream. It's the same Dan Saltman shit. Yeah, I'm glad that he took he carried over the torch from Epstein's community. All right, we're done. Oh God, it's so hard. It's so hard for me not to talk about this. I really want to, but
which is the helicopter routing in that area, and it wouldn't have been a conflict, but they were not at 200 feet. Obviously, reportedly the incident happened at around 350 to 400 feet as the airliner was descending. So that they were at the wrong height. So that's a pilot error. The first would be a policy error or choice. And then the third is air traffic control said, do you have the CRJ in sight? Well, there were two aircraft in their field of view, and actually only one was really obvious to them. And that was if you watch the video, the aircraft taking off in the foreground is probably the one they were facing, the pilots were facing, and said, yeah, I got it. The air traffic control should have said, do you have the aircraft at 5 o'clock? So they were looking at the rear. If they had done that, the Black Hawk is maneuverable. The Black Hawk could have moved out of the way quickly. They can move on a dime and make that happen. It wouldn't have happened.
Cedric, that's one of the most informed explanations I've heard of what possibly went wrong that I've yet. Thank you so much for that. Do you agree with what you had to say?
Yeah, basically I do, Jake. Elizabeth has obviously a wealth of experience with this, and when you look at the way in which the crews are set up for Black Hawk helicopters, that's a critical thing. You know, you've got the mission planning piece that you mentioned, and as Elizabeth was explaining, there are also so many concerns that they have to really look at, including not only the weather and not only traffic considerations, but also what kind of things they can expect in terms of topographical features and things like that. And that should be a given. But there are things that change sometimes. Sometimes there's new construction and things like that. And so they have to have as much meticulous planning as possible. And if that planning isn't taken into consideration and isn't done in the right way, then of course there could be significant consequences. Not saying that that happened here, of course.
Right. We don't know. We're just trying to make informed observations about what possibly happened. Obviously, Elizabeth says that the Black Hawk was supposed to be at 200 feet, and it was actually at 350. Right. Is that easy? Is that a mistake that's easy to make to be at 350 when you think you're at 200 feet?
Not normally, because the altimeter, which measures your altitude, is supposed.
I don't understand what's going on, man. I still don't fully understand how this happened. It's been what, 2 days of nonstop coverage of this, and I genuinely don't understand. I mean, I guess like accidents happen. Right? Like. And I guess that's the point, that this is just a simple accident. It just seems so insane because, once again, a plane crashing into a helicopter in the air is a very, very, very unique instance. Like, it's just a mid-air collision is, I guess, like, I'd say more commonplace on military bases, I guess, when they're flying around and stuff. But like, you got a Black Hawk helicopter crashing into a commercial airliner. Like, that is crazy. It is not a common incident. It's been over 16 years since the last aviation disaster. It's not like it's common. Like, this is, I just watched a video with the guy. He explains it perfectly. It's the Black Hawk crew's fault 100%. I mean, that's what I think as well. Like, they should not have been there, I assume. I genuinely think it's super weird that the heli crashed into the plane, which makes me think it's a genuine accident, because why would they do that on purpose? No, the helicopter didn't crash into the plane, chatter. The plane still crashed into the helicopter. That's not how speeds work. A helicopter can only crash into a plane if a plane has already landed and is parked. It is engaged in a taxi process. The plane is much faster than the helicopter. Even when it is literally landing, a plane it is moving significantly faster than the helicopter. No, the heli did hit the plane. No, the plane is still... I'm not saying the plane directed itself in the direction of the helicopter. I'm simply stating that the helicopter didn't redirect itself to go and specifically hit the plane. That's what it looks like on camera. But what ended up happening is, in this mid-air collision, what ended up happening is the plane is landing and the helicopter happened to be in the same exact, like, right place, right time, or rather wrong place, wrong time. When people say the helicopter actually directed itself into the direction of the plane and like hit the plane, you're explaining something that is impossible as far as I understand. I'm not Mr. Physics here. I'm not a particularly intelligent person, but a helicopter does not have the capacity to chase after a plane and then hit it, okay? You can only be in its direction. Even when a plane is landing, it's still fast in the top speed of a Black Hawk helicopter. Do you understand?